If you're planning on a trip to Uganda, promise me one thing: do not leave this country without seeing this. I made one massive mistake before coming here. I judged this place before I'd even walked through the gates. 3 hours of traditional dancing? Yeah, no thanks. I thought to myself, maybe I'll just watch a few dances, clap politely, and then do an Irish goodbye and head off for dinner. Oh, I have never been so wrong in my entire life, because over the next 3 hours, I laughed, I smiled, and I sat with literal goosebumps. I've travelled to some amazing places, but this is one of those experiences that stays with you. If you're ever lucky enough to visit Uganda, don't make the same mistake I almost did. And yes, at one point I found myself cheering on a bunch of grown men shaking their booties like their lives depended on it. This is not the video I thought I was going to make. Welcome to the Ndere Cultural Centre in Kampala. This is home to the famous Ndere troupe, who have spent over 40 years preserving the traditions of Uganda through music, dance, and storytelling. Uganda has more than 50 different tribes, each with its own dances, songs, stories, and traditions. The Ndere troupe somehow manages to celebrate all of that in one incredible performance. And trust me, this is nothing like I expected. Tickets currently cost around 95,000 Ugandan shillings, and after seeing it, I'd happily pay more. One thing I love about travelling is discovering experiences that locals are genuinely proud of. This wasn't just some tourist trap built to tick a box. They were founded back in 1984 by a man named Stephen, with one simple mission: to preserve Uganda's traditional cultures before they disappeared. And thank goodness they did. Because in today's world, it's so easy for traditions to slowly fade away. Instead, they've built one of East Africa's most celebrated cultural performances. Thousands of visitors come every single year just to see this. Not because it's flashy, not because it uses expensive technology, but because it's real. Even before the performers stepped onto the stage, I knew this wasn't going to be your average cultural show. The colours, the energy, the smiles, every single person looked proud to be there. It didn't feel like they were performing because they had to. It felt like they loved sharing their country's history. Their joy was contagious. Within about 5 minutes, I realised I hadn't blinked in ages. I have no idea how the human body is capable of doing what these dancers do. It almost didn't look human. At one point, I questioned whether they secretly had extra joints hidden somewhere. Meanwhile, the men came out, and let me tell you, these guys were absolutely committed. There was booty shaking, there was jumping, there was spinning, there was enough energy on that stage to power half of Kampala. Nobody looked embarrassed, nobody held back. They just completely threw themselves into it, and I loved it. You could tell they weren't dancing for tourists. They were celebrating who they are. But then, something happened that completely stole the show for me. And surprisingly, it wasn't the dancers. It was the drums. Prior to the show, I couldn't understand why everyone got so excited about traditional drumming. Surely it's just a drum, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. Now, I've heard drums before. We've all heard drums before. But I have never ever experienced drums like these. The second they started playing, I could literally feel the vibrations travelling through my body. Not just hear them, but feel them. It was almost like my own heartbeat just disappeared, and the drum became my new heartbeat instead. I know that sounds dramatic, but I don't know how else to explain it. The rhythm completely took over me. It was so powerful and ancient and raw. It's one of those sounds that bypasses your brain and goes straight into your chest. And suddenly, I understood why drums have been such an important part of Africans' cultures for centuries. They're not just instruments. They're communication, celebration, community, and history. You don't simply listen to them, you experience them. Another thing I loved was the traditional costumes. Some of the dancers wore incredibly long blonde wigs. At first, I assumed they were just because they looked stylish, which they absolutely did. But many traditional costumes actually have a cultural meaning depending on which community they're representing. Every dance tells a story, every costume represents a different heritage. Every performance reflects another piece of Uganda's incredible diversity. And when you realise that, you stop seeing just a dance show and you start seeing living history. I don't think we appreciate just how athletic these performers are. This isn't just dancing, it's endurance, coordination, balance, strength, timing. They're smiling, singing, jumping, moving every muscle in their body, and somehow still making it look effortless. Meanwhile, I'd probably need to sit down after about 20 seconds. Actually, forget 20 seconds. I'd probably pull a hamstring during the warm-up. Watching them made me realise this takes years of dedication and training. You don't accidentally become this good. The more I travel around Uganda, the more I realise something. Culture isn't kept alive in museums, it's kept alive by people. It survives because people still choose to keep living it. People choose to dance, to sing, to teach their children, to celebrate where they come from. That's exactly what the Ndere troupe is doing. Every performance is keeping hundreds of years of tradition alive for another generation, and that's priceless. I came here expecting entertainment, but I left feeling connected to a culture that just a few hours earlier I knew very little about. The dancing amazed me. The performers had smiles that never seemed to fade. The drums became one of my favourite instruments in the world. And somehow, watching people enthusiastically shaking their booties became one of the most unforgettable memories of my trip. Who'd have thought? So if you ever find yourself in Kampala, do yourself a favour. Do not leave Uganda without experiencing the Ndere Cultural Centre. Because some places you visit, you remember. But experiences like this, you feel. And I think that's the best kind of travel. If you've enjoyed coming along with me through Uganda, don't forget to subscribe, because we've got plenty more adventures coming. From incredible food to hidden gems, to experiences I'd never even heard of before arriving here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.